All right. Am I streaming again? Am I out there? I think I am. But how much of the internet am I going to hang with? And it looks like a couple of my charts have changed. I've got this one up in the corner that wasn't there before. So that's kind of funny. Um, let's move over to this one and go back to where we have charts. And let's go back to the beginning of this one. And am I getting out there? It says I'm out live again. We'll see what happens. So I'm not sure if I'm going out live at the moment or not. Doesn't appear again. Who knows? I go over here. I got a limited internet. It looks like I'm on, right? But I don't think I'm on anywhere. That being said, there I am on a new chat. All right, let's see if this works like this. Hopefully I can stay on for a while here. Hopefully you're able to check me out. And come live with me here. We're looking at the system coming up out of the southwest as we go through the day today. Here it is in Oklahoma showing up this evening. This is about 5 o'clock this afternoon. We start to see ice forming in Oklahoma, and then it comes barreling kind of out towards us as the day goes on late tonight through tomorrow morning. And then by about 5 o'clock tomorrow, there it is on our doorstep. Giving us a chance for light snows to begin late tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Very light at first. There's a little bit of thickness here or there, but the real brunt of the storm comes after the second barrel of the double barreled low pressure system starts to move through. And then we start to see some heavier snows with this, and we'll start to see where it's going to hit from there. Now, the HER is only going out till 12Z Sunday, which is 8 o'clock Sunday morning, right? 7 o'clock Sunday morning, with Lafayette being right about here. Let's see what it says, even just through the first portions of total snow accumulation. It's only an inch on Saturday night, right? So only an inch, 1 inch on Saturday night potential from the HER so far. But I have been keeping track of a lot of the models and what they've been doing over the last couple of days. And this is what it looks like here. Let's see if we can show this to you right here. And I'll go ahead and put it over here on the side. Now, this is yesterday at 12 Zulu, which was, again, early in the morning. That's the model run. And the HER wasn't even that far out. If you look over here to the right side of this, there wasn't anything there. It didn't go that far out. And this is what the NAM said from yesterday at the 12Z till Monday morning. It said 9.8 inches of snowfall. The GFS, which had done a U-turn, the GFS just a few runs before this had been saying 10 inches, had now gone to 5.0 inches. And the European model yesterday said through Monday morning, we'd see almost 11 inches of snowfall. Now, in each subsequent run, we've seen some changes. The NAM went up a little bit to 11.5. Then it skyrocketed last night to 15.3 inches, and now has come back to about 9.6. The GFS has just been slowly dropped and then kind of stayed in that 4 to 5 inch range, it looks like, over the last 24 hours. And the European model was at 10.8. It went to 10.3 and 9.6. This isn't a big change, but it's a little bit of a change, and it hasn't come out with its 06Z yet. It's a lot slower than the other ones. So that's what we're seeing, at least on the front with this as the system comes through, the changes in the model. So the NAM and the European are still looking at 9 inches or more of snowfall. The GFS has backed off down to 4, basically, to 5 inches of snowfall. And the HER is just now starting to get to the time frame where we can see into Sunday morning, and it still only shows a half an inch to an inch. What did we just see on the chart there just a second ago? 1.1 inches of snowfall potential through Sunday morning with that system there as it comes in. And if we zoom in a little bit, we can see it a little closer. There you go, 1.1, 1.6. But look at how snow is just to our south getting ready to come up later in the period. And if I change over to the NAM, it'll go back to the old model. Here it is. It's only showing 1.3 by Sunday morning. See, so it's very close to what the HER says right now. And it's actually starting to come out. The model is. And as we go farther and farther, now look at what the NAM is. The NAM is only, this is only till Sunday afternoon, and it's at 3 inches by Sunday afternoon. And it's still progged during that time frame. You can see here, this is probably a little bit better than what it was. So maybe it's dropping a little bit also. So this leads me to believe specifically that we're going to see, obviously, down south of the county, you may see upwards of 6 to 10 inches. North part of the county, probably more like 4 to 8 inches, and Lafayette maybe in that 5 to 8 or 9 inch range too. So it'll be a bit more to the south, obviously, and a bit less to the north. I'm just kind of leaning at that point right now. I'll probably vary. The new run is almost finished with the NAM, but we're not quite there yet. I see the NAM nest goes out that far. Let's see. Nope, it goes back to 6Z, and it shows you plenty of snowfall Sunday afternoon in our local area there. So remember, it's fine tuning now exactly where it's going to be in the next 24 to 48 hours. And the NAM nest, it hasn't gone out that far yet, but the NAM is getting there. It's getting close. Shows some pretty heavy snow on us about 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. And snow totals by that time. Now, Kuchera says there'll be 5 inches on the ground by that time frame, and 6 just south of us, where the total accumulations on the others 2.6. It's a little bit lower for that time frame. Oh, there we go. We got to push it out. 5 inches. It's now saying to 5.6 inches by Monday morning. So Monday morning's the big dig out, and the NAM is now saying that for, but that was the 6Z run, remember? Now we're into the 12Z run, and it just hasn't gone out that far yet. And it's still showing 3 to 4 inches already by Sunday afternoon on that one. So there we are, at least on the NAM at this point and where it is. And when you go out to like the GFS and you go farther out, and I remember I showed you that chart just a little bit ago, you can see how it picks up the snow, and the GFS backed off compared to where it was and just put us in the 2 to 5 range, depending on what time frame you're looking at the time frame for when it's coming through. And the European model, look at this, 12.8 inches of snow. Well, we got to go back. That's too far out. But here we are, Sunday, right? This is Saturday night. Sunday starts to snow, coming down heavy all day Sunday. Into the evening Sunday shows us at 9.4. Let 9.6 is where we end up by Monday morning, it looks like, which is 12Z here. Let's look at 12Z. 9.6. Crawfordsville, 11.7. A swath of 13 to 15 south of Indianapolis, between Indianapolis and down towards Lexington. Another swath back out to our southwest of 15-inch snowfalls. Potential with the European model showing that. So, luckily, we are not right smack dab in the middle of that band, but it seems like maybe the Europeans a little overdone. Well, let's see what it looks like. Remember, European said 10.8 and then about 9.6 between it. So and the NAM has gone from 9.8 up to 15 and back down to 9.6. GFS is in the lower range here. So I'm leaning towards a little bit more than the GFS, obviously, except if you're up near Rensselaer, you're going to get less than that. Obviously, you're going to get up probably 3 to 5 to 6 there. Northern Tippecanoe County, probably that 4 to 8 range. And then Southern Tippecanoe County is more like a 6 to 10 range for them. Okay. So that's kind of how we should see it at this point. That's what I'll be going for, depending on where you're at. A good snowfall, no matter what, when you look through this. So let's see if we can find some wind in this. What kind of other weather we can find with this system here. Trying to find where the surface is. Temperatures. All right, so there's the temperatures. We already know it's going to be chilly, but look at Monday morning. You've got a wind. It's -6. It says -6, -7 degrees. I don't think possibly will be this cold. We'll have to see. It's all going to be dependent on the wind direction. And you're talking 8 knots of wind gusting to 15. So your wind chill is going to be like -20, close to -20 Monday morning. You're going to have 6 inches of snow on the ground in lots of places. And you're going to be seeing drifts because let's go back here as we go through this. There's 10 knots, 15 knots. There's this wind right here coming straight off the lake. Sunday night into Monday, we could get some lake effect snows all the way down to here. That's cloud cover and lake effect snow. temperature of 8 degrees, 10 knot wind, probably gusting to 20. And that's going to create some drifting all over our roads. Luckily, it doesn't look like we're quite strong enough to get to like blizzard conditions where the visibility will be 100 feet because it's blowing so hard. But we'll see some restricted visibilities here or there, mostly picked up by cars in front of you, that kind of thing. Not a lot of big driving going on Monday morning. And you can see our winds coming out of the more east and northeast. So a lot of 10 to 15 knot winds here on this system as it comes through. That's good news. It's not quite, 20 to 30 where we would be thinking about blizzard conditions, but still very cold temperatures. And then it shows the temperatures just lingering. Look at the temperatures on Monday and Tuesday. Very cold temperatures there hanging on. And looks like, again, as we said, if you were able to see the beginning of the show or the first one before this, we've had some internet in and out at times. So I'm not sure how much I'm getting out all the time. And I've got some grandsons at home today who are on the internet too that probably aren't helping me out any in that aspect anyway. So I'm trying to kind of keep off the internet portions of it and then run on my phone just so I can see what's going on. And I've been back and forth. So hopefully I stay on for a while and you'll be able to see me pretty consistent right now. So that's the cold. Let's go back to the her again. Let's look at the close in and look at our temperatures like this morning and that kind of thing. Here we are this morning. We're at 0. Lafayette still reporting 0 degrees and sunny skies out there. So very cold this morning. It feels like minus 19 with a wind of about 12 miles an hour, probably seeing some gusts of 15 to 18. And we're going to see that kind of weather just about the entire day. So there we are. It's on the money. It says 0 for this time of the day, 9 o'clock. What's it say for 10? 10 says 0. 11 says about 2. So you can see we're only going to get up to around 5 degrees later this afternoon. The actual high was probably at 1 o'clock this morning, and it was in the teens back then. So that'll be the official high for Friday, but the afternoon high is only going to be about 5. And then it just backs off back down to around 0. By tomorrow morning, we're maybe flirting with -1 again overnight tonight. And it may actually start to warm up during the day pretty quickly tomorrow. There you go. See some teens coming in there tomorrow. Another cold night tonight, obviously a cold day today. It's going to take a lot out of you. It's going to feel like -10 to -20, pretty consistent. We do have a winter storm warning in effect that'll start at 7 o'clock tomorrow night and go to 7 o'clock Sunday, which is when the heaviest snows are expected. That's for just about every county around us. And they're going for 5 to 7 inches. So I'm going just a little more than what they're going for. In the northern portion of the county, I said 4 to 8, right? So 5 to 7 fits right in there. The southern portion of the county may see a bit more, and it could be upwards of 10 inches in a couple places. But 5 to 7 is a good solid number for the winter storm warning right now. Not a bad call. That goes all the way out to Monday, though, for my snow total. So that's why it could be a little bit more than that, possibly, because I'm covering the whole thing. They're kind of just covering that area, and it stops at 7 p.m. Sunday, where we'll still see some light snows overnight Sunday night too. So just to keep that in mind, winter storm warning now in effect for Tippecanoe County and the surrounding counties too. Here we are Sunday, going into Sunday morning. Sunday morning, still not bad temperature-wise, so to speak, right? 6 degrees is what it'll be, but it won't be -1 or 0. We still have a 10-knot wind, so the wind chills will be very cold, and it should be snowing and snowing by that time frame pretty decently into the afternoon hours, especially, it looks like, as the second low comes through. If we go back out a little bit, let me go back out, see if I can find the bigger picture. Here's the one from Texas. I'm going to go with the large sectors and just look at the country again. Won't give it to me. All right, so let's go with this and go back to where the low is if we can find it. You can see, you can follow the temperatures right along with the system, right? So the system comes up, the temperatures get colder. And as we get into the next day, you see some of the warmth into Tennessee. But look at all these temperatures are cold enough for snow. So it looks like all the way down in Tennessee. But they're going to see a mix of ice and snow down here through this swath of Tennessee, western Kentucky. And then you got to go much farther south before you'll get a total rain picture. And if we kind of look at this shot here, there we go. That's kind of right where the line is, where everything starts and stops, where your amounts of snow are much less farther south, and this is where you're going to see that swath of ice from Dallas up to Nashville, all the way up to DC and the Raleigh area. That's where you're going to see your best chances for ice. It looks like in the picture for those folks there. So that's something to be worried about. I don't know if anybody's traveling south in the next couple of days, but something to keep an eye on and watch for is that potential for the ice down there if you're heading that direction. Hopefully you're not. Hopefully you're just going to hunker down, stay home, and you're not going to worry too much about it. You're going to stay away from it, and you're not going to give yourself anything like that. You're just going to stay in your house. You're going to make sure everybody's okay. Hopefully we don't lose any power. Sorry about the cough drop thing here, guys. I got to be prepared too, so I can talk for another hour or two. Right. I'm just glad the signal's still going out right now because it's only showing about half a signal. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully we stay on board there. And so that's that on that front. So now we've seen it. We know it's going to be cold. We know we've got the storm coming in. We know we're going to get snow. It's going to be pretty rough on Sunday. I wouldn't be surprised if schools are canceled on Monday. It just depends on how much the blowing does and how much it affects the roads. Hitting over the weekend is going to help. They'll be back to school by Tuesday, probably. But a decent storm everywhere. And our county has a lot of open spots. So some of those roads just get really nasty. And if you live in town, you'll clear up quicker, which is always the norm. And the way it usually works out, right? So along those lines, let's go to the NAM, which goes out till this is the 12Z. It's almost done. It goes all the way out right now until Monday afternoon. And it still shows a temperature high around 9 on Monday afternoon. We'll see those teens for a little while on Sunday when the low goes by, right? But then the cold air is still being reinforced. But here's the good news. Look at this. Monday afternoon, the temperatures are up near 0 instead of -10 and -20, which is what we saw earlier in the week. And what we'll probably see if we go back a little bit, see that -10s and 13s up there for Monday for them. And our wind is coming from that direction to help keep us cold. But in the latter portions, they get some warm air kind of sucked up towards them too a little bit, coming in from their west, and they warm up a little bit too, which will help us at least later in the period. So that's the NAM on that. Let's see what the GFS says temperature wise, and it shows a teen temperature there potential on Monday afternoon. And then kind of chilly. Still lots of cold. Does try to show some 20s in here on Tuesday. Now, this is the 6Z run, so it's been out a while. They're doing the 12Z right now. We may get some of that later. Here's some single digits by Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, we're back into the single digits. Good news is I just don't see that huge, big outpouring of negatives like we have been, but it's cold. All these temperatures are below normal. And we see another 20s there, maybe towards the beginning of February. And this thing goes out much farther. There we go. 32 degrees on February 3rd, potential there before we get back above freezing. So be prepared for that. Hopefully you took care of your hoses at your house and you don't have any water problems. Your pipes, keep thinking about those. Don't forget to put some dribbles in there and, dribble it out of the faucet. Again, during the day or tonight when it gets cold, and it's going to be cold for a day or two here, really solid, and then cold again Monday and Tuesday. So hopefully you're prepared for that. And don't forget about your neighbors and the people around you and your family, and check everybody out who might need some help. And then, of course, we always talk about those little electric heaters. We got to worry about those too. So that still shows cold. Let's see what the European has a tendency to over exaggerate things a little bit, right? So let's see where it is this morning. This morning, let's see, that's 18Z. It had us 1, we're at 0, so we're pretty close there. It's got a bigger pocket of cold up to our northwest. And let's see what it does over the next couple days. It keeps us cold just like the other run did. There it is. It only shows us maybe getting back to 12 or 13 on tomorrow night when it's snowing. First starts snowing, and then we see maybe 10 on Sunday night. But then Monday morning, it does show us going below 0, -4, -5. Okay. But the pocket of teens is, you can see it's starting to break down as some of the warmer air out in Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota is trying to stretch itself into Minnesota and Wisconsin and knocking down this block of the cold. On Monday, it'll try to do that, but that drags it down towards us for a bit. And so now this long range is showing a pocket of cold over us for Monday and Tuesday. And it's going to stay colder on this run. You can see that already. It goes out till what, the 28th. Here's the 29th. It's still cold, single digits. It's going to be pretty chilly there on the European model. I would estimate here, I'm going to kind of split the difference pretty easily and lean towards the European of being 1 or 2 below possibly on Monday instead of the warmer model for the GFS. But we'll see how we go when we get closer and closer to it. And the other good news is no big major storms after this one coming through. Let's go back through it real quick. Let's hit the precipitation, SLP. We'll just kind of cover it. Here's the main storm that's coming, right? The first wave goes through, and then bam, on the second side, there's where all that second low, which is far to our south, right? That's why I call it double barrel. The first low is now over here, off the chart over towards Washington, D.C. The second one's still in Tennessee on Sunday afternoon, and that brings more moisture to us. But then let's see, there's just nothing there, right? Here we are Monday, Tuesday, nothing, no systems, just cold, 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 cold. And did I say it's going to be cold? And then maybe a slight chance of some snow on Wednesday next week. And that's just your little Alberta clipper going through real fast. That'll reinforce more snow on the back of Lake Michigan. And you're going to see lots of lake effect snows at times from, you notice there. Now the winds are going the other direction. You don't see much. But pretty interesting on that front. There'll be a period here. Let's go back and take a quick look at the surface temperatures during the storm, right? Like right here, when our winds are coming to the east, they're a little wobbly up here. If these east winds get up to Lake Michigan, then they'll push across the other direction, right? And they could dump some snows over Chicago. So there could be a short period there where Chicago gets some pretty good snow if they can turn easterly. It wants to stop it right in that general area. So we'll have to see. They'll be fighting at each other on Sunday, whether they can go easterly over the lake and really dump some snow on Chicago too, potential there. I doubt any of us are going anywhere Sunday or Monday, but if you do happen to be trying to get out or getting to work, going to be a rough deal. Monday morning, I may have to be taking the wife to work for her to get her there, because it could be some pretty decent snows. There will be decent snows Sunday into Monday. So there we go on that front. That kind of covers everything right now. We talked about the cold, where the snow is going to be, the potential, what we think we have here, that there's a winter storm warning in effect right now. I think I can go back here and kind of click on this one. Should show me the winter storm, and we can see the actual readout on it. They're saying heavy snow expected, total 5 to 7 inches, portions of central, east central Indiana. Of course, that includes us here in Lafayette. Heaviest snow will fall late Saturday night through early Sunday afternoon. Everything we've just kind of covered there and gone through. So 7 p.m. Saturday to 7 p.m. Sunday is when we are in our winter storm warning. Down to the south, for instance, Indianapolis, it says 7 to 10 inches down there. You go over towards Huntington, and it's more in the 6-inch range. Back out to our west, they're going for 5 to 9 inches. So you can see the theme here. We're all pretty much on board with seeing heavy snows to the south, like down towards Bloomington, 7 to 10, maybe even heavier in spots down there. We move it. Let's go for like 7 to 13 inches down near the river, right? And then over towards Evansville, more of the same there. 8 to 13 inches. So that's where the real bad stuff is going to be. We're just going to be a little bit better than them. That's all it is. If you want to call it that. All right. So that's your weather alerts. There's still in 10 minutes, the cold alert will go off. We're back up to 1 degrees now outside. So that's what you're seeing as we go through the day today is cold weather, snow on the horizon. I would call today a decent day, other than it's freezing out there. A mix of some sun and clouds all day. We can see that on the satellite picture kind of streaming in here and there. But your high is only going to be like 5 degrees with a 10 knot wind. It's going to be -5 to -15 all day on your wind chill. So if you got to get out and put some gas in the car, be ready for it. Make sure you got your gloves, your hat, a scarf if you need that. You want one of those. A lot of us still run out of the house with just a sweat jacket on or something. I do it all the time. I like the cold, but this kind of cold's bad for everybody, even myself. Getting older, I'm not used to this kind of thing myself. So I like 40, not 20. Okay. There we go. We're starting to get to that point in life. All right. So we've just talked about all the weather, and I'm going to get back to it here in a second because uh, I don't know how much you were able to see and not see. I am going to hit some of the highlights, though, of what's going on locally because there is a couple big news stories going on. For instance, and I'm going to pop it up here and show it to you on WLFI's website. 5 suspects behind bars following Tippecanoe County judge shooting. So they have arrested 5 people now on the incident that happened. Okay. I'm going to switch over and come back out to me. There you go. And then I'll read you guys some of the story. They tell who the suspects are. Raylan Ferguson, who's 38. He's from Lexington, Kentucky. Boy, there's all kinds of things. I don't know if this is his made a handful of arrests. Thomas Moss, who's 43 from Lafayette. Blake Smith, who's 32 from Lafayette. Amanda Millsap, who's 45 from Lafayette. And Zanata Greer, who's 61, and she's from Lexington too. I don't know who the bad guy is in here because they don't tell you who it is I mean, they're all part of it somehow or another. Obviously, it led to a massive manhunt. FBI was involved, but now they've arrested 5 people. And those 5 people, who knows, were maybe somebody that was part of, didn't like the judge. Maybe they were in front of the judge. Who knows? But it sounds like, based on some of these, like attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, aggravated battery resulting in serious bodily injury, intimidation with a deadly weapon, obstruction of justice. These are for Raylan and Ferguson and Thomas Moss. Those are there. Blake Smith. Looks like what they're going to charge him with are the same. Amanda, she's going to be in for bribery and obstruction of justice. And Zanata Greer is assisting a criminal in obstruction to justice. Now, that to me, that could mean one of them went home, right? And she had him come in. Maybe she didn't even know, but they're going to charge her anyway, probably with this. But I'm reading into it. I'm just guessing, right? I don't know all the details on it. And so they don't have much in their story because it's just happening in the last 12 hours or so. And rather interesting, though, they got them. At least they think they have them, right? Innocent until proven guilty. We'll see what happens when they go to court. But I can think in my mind easily that someone did that and then hopped in their car and then drove off down to Kentucky. And that's why they couldn't get him so fast. And they didn't figure it out, and it took a while, but they did eventually get to them. Other stories: Alteen's pushing the reopening of the historic State Road 225 bridge. Ron, our representative, right? State Senator Ron Alteen, who represents Carroll and Tippecanoe counties in District 22, has made reopening the bridge a priority since taking office 3 years ago. Well, it's been sitting there for 3 years. What's going on, Ron? It's taking too long. Alteen says the bridge serves as a critical connection for drivers across multiple counties. I would like to use it myself. It's a key intersection for all of the Carroll County and all of White County and all of Tippecanoe County, Alteen said. Yeah, I know many people who would like to get it. The bridge was built in 1910 originally. It's one of the last ones. It's just like a single lane. It has a light on it. It is a historic bridge. We do want to keep the historic, but let's get her open and get her going instead of just sitting there doing nothing for all these years. Alting says reopening the bridge will signify significantly improved daily commutes and reduce travel costs for residents surrounding communities. That is true. And trying to go around does cost a bit. It looks like reconstruction project is going to be around 20 million. I thought they were already doing it. That's the thing. We were just waiting to see when it was going to open. And it's just been sitting there, it appears, right? He says you want to preserve things like that. It's something you don't see very often. It's a one-lane bridge with a red light, no yellow, just red and green. That's pretty cool, is what Alting said. I want it back up and running as soon as we can. Well, if this was something you talked about 3 years ago, why is it not done? And why are we waiting until now? Well, not waiting till now, but you know what I'm saying. At least they're getting moving on it a little bit. Definitely something I would be using because that kind of cuts closer to my family. So this one here popped up. Driver pleads guilty to 6 felony counts in fatal Boone County 2023 drunk driving case. So that's something that was in the news. A woman has pleaded guilty to 6 felony counts. 25-year-old Jessica Carapia Cortez admitted guilt on all charges, including causing death while operating a car while intoxicated. Test showed she was right at the legal limit of 0.08 at the time of the crash. Oh, it exceeded that. Doesn't say how much it was. Sentencing is April 9th in Boone County. I don't know the backstory on that and what happened and what to the people, but they're doing this more and more. If you're going to go out there and drink and drive and you hurt somebody, including yourself, you may get charged. It happens. So there you go. Governor Braun opts in to new federal tax credit for school choice scholarships. That sounds like a pretty good story for the kids. He announced that Indiana is joining a federal initiative allowing Hoosiers to gain federal tax savings on K through 12 scholarship investments. This new federal tax credit, part of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill, applies to contributions made to scholarship granting organizations, which is SGOs, for eligible K through 12 students. Parents are in charge of their children's education, Braun said. He emphasized that the state prioritizes universal school choice and a state tax credit for donations to scholarship organizations. Braun added that this federal tax credit will expand opportunities for students and families. It starts January 1st, 2027, and individuals can claim a non-refundable federal tax credit of up to $1,700. It's got to be the cough drop. $1,700 for contributions to participating SGOs, with any unused credit able to be carried forward for 5 years. That's pretty good. Let's see. Dr. Katie Jenner, Indiana Secretary of Education, said this new federal tax credit will continue to drive investments in scholarships, ensuring high-quality education opportunities are within reach for every learner. That's great news for our kiddos. Indiana also offers a 50% state tax credit for donors to qualified SGOs with no contribution limits. So you can put money into the program too and get credit for that. That's a good story there. So if you're wanting to do that along those lines, right? Is your car, they did a story yesterday on is your car ready for winter weather? And I've been telling you about some of the things you got to do to take care of other people. But, the car is out there too, right? Do you got a full gas tank? Maybe do you got jumper cables? This is the stuff you probably need to do today and get it done and over with, right? Do you have a snow brush? That kind of thing. First aid kit, water, maybe some snacks. You never know. Blankets, a backup, warm clothes, possibly. I talked about the story yesterday. I remembered about a guy who got out of his car out on the interstate and tried to walk a couple miles to somewhere, and he was inebriated, but he fell down, and I don't know if he passed out or whatever, but he froze to death out there. So that happens. Do you have your flashlight and your cell phone charger with you? Those kind of things. That's the kind of stuff you'll be needing to have in your car, have it ready with you, besides making sure your house is ready to go. I think a lot of us obviously are going to be in the house on Sunday and Monday, it looks like at this point with the storm coming in, right? So that's what's the kind of the headlines over on WLFI at the moment. Let's see what some of the national headlines are. What's Trump been messing with people today? It says, I was Trump's ambassador to Denmark. I know the truth about his Greenland plan and why the island is destined to become America's next Puerto Rico. Is it? Former United States Ambassador to Denmark, Carla Sands, said she is convinced that President Donald Trump will acquire Greenland in some form before the end of his second term. Well, we've already come to some kind of idea with Europe. Europe finally said, oh, maybe we should do something about this. And we're all getting together to work it out. Whether we take control and do that kind of thing, I don't know. I think they'll probably still leave it up to the people. It probably still ends up being Denmark's. And we just do what we do. Denmark allows us to put some bases there and to get the mineral rights and to work on that. And Europe's going to be part of that too. So that's how things change so fast. Remember, I told you wait 24 to 48 hours. So that was what yesterday. What's today? Friday. It's Freaky Friday here today, or Free Fun Friday, so to speak. And Wednesday, I said Trump came out and was telling everybody they're awful. We got to do this. We're going to take over Greenland. They all went crazy. And I told you, wait, wait, wait. And sure enough, already by Thursday, he was already, hey, things are good. We're going to work it all out. Everybody's on the same page, and they were all saying the same thing too. Look at President Trump; he's awesome. Da 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 da. Uh, Point being is Europe is the weakest link of all the big balls that are around the world right now. Well, let's go with Russia and China, United States, Europe. Then you can have Africa and South America in there too, because they've got some pull here and there, right? But who's the biggest boy on the block? Well, the United States is, right? Then it's China. Then it's probably Russia is actually has more pull than Europe, although you could fight between the two. But either way, Russia and Europe are kind of falling down with any influence they have left in the world. They're doing it to themselves with what they're doing with their economies and allowing people to do whatever they want in different places. And they don't pay for their own military a lot of time. They expect us to kind of help and do things. And we do that, which is fine. We're part of NATO. But President Trump has made sure they try to pay their shares. Uh, some of them said yesterday, and they probably believe it. I don't know how they could do that, that they could protect themselves without us when they have armies of maybe 50,000 people to protect France, that kind of thing. I'm sure it's a little more than that, but um, that's blowhard getting out there saying we're better than we are too, because they can't protect themselves because they've limited themselves and have depended on the United States to do that for decades and decades and decades. Not just World War I and World War II, but afterwards too. As they took on the socialist ideas in the last 20, 30 years, it's gotten even worse. And President Trump's putting a stop to that, is what he's doing. If something happens, are we going to be there? Of course, we're going to be there for them. But he's going to talk the big talk, like you guys need us and all that, which they do. But they need to start paying their fair share. And then apparently they have started to, a lot of them, which will be a big help. But can they bring up their own big armies? No, their countries aren't that big. Together they could, but they're not doing it. They're while they talk about they're all European, sometimes they are not. Now, the people in Greenland are now so terrified of the United States, it says here from somebody they were talking to. This is, we are now the boogeyman because of what Denmark has done over the last year. These poor people, and they're not used to this kind of pressure, she said. I don't know. This was the ambassador that they were talking to. So, leaders of Greenland and Denmark have long been upset by the idea, Sand said, citing the aftermath of the White House meeting between Danish foreign minister and the Greenland foreign minister about us being able to take over Greenland. But it never was about taking over Greenland. It was about getting bases there and the minerals there. And now Trump has Europe along board with him. So that's kind of the way it was. So wait 48 hours. Let's see what happens. We'll see how this is. The whole entire story still isn't out yet, exactly what's going to occur. We just have bits and pieces of it. And it could be wrong with that too. And if we're wrong with that, then we'll come back and talk about it on Monday, if that's what it is. But right now, it looks like that's where we're headed with all of this. Of course, the biggest story in the world right now is the big storm coming anywhere from Texas all the way up to Maine. And we're in the mix of that. And I'll show you some more weather here pretty soon. Just hitting some of those headlines and some of those cool things that are in the news. Not a lot of the big stuff. Now, apparently we're getting pretty close to maybe going into Iran, and I'm trying to find any kind of story on it anywhere. And that leads me to think something's going on too, because nobody's saying anything, right? Right. So that's how it is. Is there going to actually be some kind of attack in Iran? Well, Israel has made some posturing and made some changes that make it look like something's going to happen. The U.S. has brought in the aircraft carriers. At least one has gotten into the area already, turned its transponder off. Could something happen this weekend? They like to do things on the weekends for some reason. Let's see. It was Friday night into Saturday morning, right? Saturday morning, like 2 o'clock when they went in and got Maduro. So don't be surprised if something happens tonight, or it could be next weekend, or it could be any time, or maybe Iran actually backs off. I don't see them doing it. Does anybody out there see Iran backing off? They're not going to try to get rid of their power. Those mullahs and those the sheiks and uh, the ayatollahs that are running the place over there, they aren't going to give up their power easily. That's for sure. So somebody's going to have to do something for those people in Iran. And then I thought to myself, and I don't know, maybe some of you have thought about this too. Uh, does Iran change their name back to Persia? Because they were Persia for years and years and years. I don't remember when they changed to Iran. Was it before they came in? I don't remember my history on it, but they were Persia at one time, which is a beautiful name. And again, Tehran was a beautiful city. People wanted to go travel there and see it. And they were like they were like a United States in the middle of the Middle East. It was pretty cool. And then everything changed in 1979 when the guys came in and tried to take over and then did take over. The Ayatollah took our people and had our hostages. And lo and behold, they gave him up the day Reagan was nominated after, I believe, 444 days. To be specific, I think that's pretty much what it was. So, Trump orders a massive military fleet toward Iran with ominous warning about what could come next. We're watching. Now, that's what he said yesterday. And there's not been any news about it since, really, because I don't see anything there, at least on this front. Doesn't mean there isn't anything out there. It's not finding it on this run and where I'm at. He said, United States is watching and has an armada headed toward the region a week after violent protests that many believed would force Trump to strike Tehran. So he was speaking on Air Force One when he was talking. So we're not going to tell you where everything's at or what we're going to do, but the man will back up what he says. That everybody knows at this point now. He described Iran's tactics as from 1,000 years ago because they're just out shooting people in the street. And then they were going to start hanging people to get people off the street and to take control. So, and then Trump, it looked like we were going to do something last week. And then he said, if you don't stop all these executions and all this stuff, we're coming after you. And they stopped. Now, you know as well as I do, when you're in a country like that, they're coming for you anyway. So if we don't go in and do something, a month from now, all those people are going to end up dead. That's how it works. That's how they show their power and they keep control. But unfortunately for the Iranian people, boy, they're in such dire straits, money-wise. Their economy's terrible. There all kinds of things have been wrong there. The ladies do not have any rights there compared to what they do in the rest of the world, and what they had before they took over in power in 1979. So there's a red line there, right? It would be nuclear activity in Iran, saying if the regime continues to experiment with technology, it's going to happen again. This is Trump talking about attacking them. It looks like they're sick people. They really are. They are. We call it Trump derangement syndrome. They have that too. Yep. The world should stay tuned. That's how he ended the conversation about it. Following Trump's call for the Iranian supreme leader to step down, Iranian General Abolfaz Shakarachi warned that any hostile actions towards Ayatollah Ali Khamenei would face severe consequences. Trump knows that if any hand of aggression is extended toward our leader, he said, we not only cut that hand, but also we will set fire to the world. My guess is they can't do that yet. And my guess is this is one of those cases where they may take out the actual people. You know, usually we don't go in there and like bomb. There's a reason we haven't bombed Putin, right? That's just kind of one of those unwritten rules. You don't take out the leaders. But we went in and got Maduro, right? But we didn't kill him. We didn't just bomb him. We went in and got him. Obviously, you can't do that to Putin. And we don't send, because when you attack a foreign leader and kill him like that, then that's war. So that's why we don't do those things. But going in and getting Maduro was different. That was helping the people and helping the people become free without killing the man, right? So there was a difference in the two, obviously. Let's see. What else we got in here? A couple cool things. Most of it's a lot of junk in the last couple of days. Just not a lot of big things happening. The Iran thing I'm worried about. They are talking a bit about maybe coming to peace again in Russia, Ukraine. But how many times have we heard that? We've heard that a bunch of times over the years, the last few years for sure. And since Trump's been in there, it's been close 3 or 4 times, and somebody backs off every time. So it's been Russia a couple times, it's been Ukraine a couple times. But each side is asking for the world, and they want everything they want and everything they can get. So if they don't give a little bit from each side, they'll never end this, and they'll just keep killing each other, which is something we would like to stop, right? All right, so that's it on that front there. All the exciting things are happening. There's a basketball game tomorrow. Purdue is playing, and they will be playing, I think it's at 3 o'clock tomorrow, against the Fighting Illini, who are 11th ranked in the country. This is going to be a tough game after a tough loss earlier this week. So that'll be something exciting to watch tomorrow. Let me see if we can find some of those real quick. Saturday. All right. Yeah, Purdue plays. Where is it at? There it is. 3 o'clock on Fox. So if you got Fox, you'll be able to watch that. Might have to get up on the roof and move my antenna around, see if I can get a Fox station in there instead of just WLFI on my. So that might something I might have to do. Lots of games tomorrow on tap. Lots of them in the Big Ten. Michigan State's playing Maryland at home. Michigan State's at home. Nebraska's going to Minnesota. Who else is in here tomorrow? Georgia's going to Texas. West Virginia's going to Arizona. Big Ten wise, that's about it right now. I know there's other games in here. Let me go straight to the Big Ten. Okay, so Nebraska's going to Minnesota, Maryland goes to Michigan, Illinois comes to Purdue, and Northwestern goes to UCLA. What about today? Well, today, Indiana goes to Rutgers, and then Ohio State goes to Michigan today. So that'll be a really good game. That's on Fox tonight at 8 o'clock, right? Ohio State is 13-5, and they're 5-3 in the Big Ten. And Michigan's 17-1 and 7-1 in the Big Ten. So that'll be a good game. Nebraska's 19-0, so tomorrow they're going to Minnesota. And you think to yourself, well, it's just Minnesota. Purdue beat Minnesota easy. They're 3-5. But Minnesota, did they not beat Michigan? Is that who beat Michigan was Minnesota? Minnesota's got a big win somewhere. So Maryland is 1-7 in the Big Ten. Michigan State's going to run them over pretty much. The Illinois-Purdue game is huge. Both teams 7-1. The winner has the kind of inside straight towards winning the championship if Nebraska ever loses, who is 8-0 and is leading the entire league, and out of nowhere is 19-0 on the season. And great for them. That's exciting. It's exciting. That'll make the Purdue-Nebraska game a lot more exciting in a couple weeks when they go play there. So I think the next game after that, Purdue goes to Indiana on Tuesday. They do. It's at 9 o'clock. It's on the Peacock. So they'll play Indiana on Tuesday night. All right. So that's home Saturday, back out Tuesday. And then I think on Saturday, they go back all the way over to Michigan, or not Michigan, Maryland. So that will be a road game there for Purdue, either Saturday or Sunday. Which day is it? Shows up on Sunday next week, February 1st. Purdue will go to Maryland at 1 p.m. Doesn't show the TV yet. So that's what you see for Purdue's games coming up. The ladies got hammered pretty bad the other night in UCLA. They're our work in process, and I trust in the coach, and things will come around in that team here pretty soon. Probably next year they'll be fighting for the Big Ten championship, and the following year maybe they win the whole thing. That's kind of how it works out a lot of times. You know, you go through a little building process, and then you end up getting yourself on track, and everything works out pretty good. All right, so the big stuff today, obviously, the big stuff today is the weather. So let's go and see what's going on weather-wise around the country. It's cold. Everybody's cold right now. We are partly sunny here in Lafayette. Feels like minus 15 because you have a 13-mile-per-hour wind out of the northwest, and it is 1 degree outside. So expect partly sunny skies. And, you know, it says here on this, the high will be 5 degrees. That's a mixture of clouds and sunshine. That's what I like to call it myself, because you'll see periods of sun, and you'll see periods of the clouds. And it's just still, generally speaking, it's a nice day. Now, it's cold, though. It's cold, cold, cold. So you got to be ready for that. But compared to what we're going to see on Sunday, this is a nice day today. So This is your chance to get out and get yourself prepared possibly today. Bundle up, put your gloves on, your hat on, make sure your car is warmed up, get over to the store, grab